Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel, Augusto Argandoña Fine Arts. Anytime in this narrated tutorial, you can click on the subscribe button to subscribe to my channel. And also I would appreciate any comments that you may have in regards to this tutorial, this video, this painting, and for that matter, any of the other tutorials in my channel. If you want to learn about my virtual classes or want to see my paintings, you may do so in my website at aafinearts.com. This tutorial is about how to paint early morning scenery with watercolors. I took this photograph while taking my early morning walk here in Sarasota, Florida, at one of the local beautiful parks that we have. What caught my eye was the light and shadows effect, with the light coming towards me and all the shadows coming towards me as I was walking on this nice path on that early morning. And I thought this would make an ideal watercolor. So I took my phone and snapped the photo, and well, here it is. I'm going to be painting it. So without much ado, I'm going to go ahead and do the fun part of this tutorial, and you guessed it, it is the painting part. So, okay, so here we go. I'm going to get myself situated on my table here. Okay, all right. And so what I'm going to do is, like I said, I was walking on this path going from this location up to this area and beyond, but anyway, and the sun was about in this area. So this area was kind of a beautiful, kind of hazy look. The sky was blue in this area, but kind of a hazy yellow ochre color on this lower area. And all the shadows were coming from this way. It was a few shafts of sunlight coming this way also. It was really beautiful scene. So that's how I'm going to paint it. So I'm going to start by adding a little bit of water to the sky. No, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go ahead and get some yellow ochre and go over here like that. Get a little bit more water in my brush. Like that, and going over to the trees also. A little bit more of that yellow ochre here and here, like that. And now I'm going to clean my brush and bring some clean ultramarine blue and start at the top. Bring a little bit more water and a little bit more of the pigment and come down and blend it right into the yellow ochre. Oops, I got something in there. Okay, I'm going to get rid of that. Now, the beauty about this combination of color, the ultramarine blue with the yellow ochre, is that unlike other colors that are similar, for example, the raw sienna, it does not turn green, which is really nice with the combination with the blue. I'm going to get a little bit more water here, like that. Okay, it does not turn blue, so green. So this is really beautiful combination. But before I go any further, I'm going to bring in a little bit of manganese blue on top of this ultramarine, only on the top area, like that. Because this ultramarine, French ultramarine blue has a little bit of red in it, so to compensate for that, I'm going to put a little bit of a manganese blue there. That's about it. I'm going to let that dry. While that's drying, I'm going to continue with this brush. I'm going to get some, a little bit of raw sienna with aureolin yellow and cerulean blue, but mostly the raw sienna, and get some really light areas over here, green, bordering that little walkway, kind of light over it. I'm going to put that over there, like bring that over here, bordering that walkway. This is going to be the base color. This will probably change later, but for now I'm going to do that. There, to get me a base color. I'm going to have to make sure that this area is drying. I'm going to go a little bit more of the aureolin yellow with raw sienna and the cerulean blue, and do this other side of the grassy area that will be in the sunlight, like this. Come down over here and there. I'm going to bring a little bit more raw sienna by itself. Come over here like that. There we are, like that. And I'm gonna, on top of that, I'm gonna bring a little bit more cerulean blue. Not quite that much. There we are. Get this green over here. This is gonna be the sunny green. Get that curve on the path. There we are, and that's it. I'm gonna let that dry. While that's drying, what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna make sure that this is almost dry. Okay, so I'm gonna pick up a round brush and add a little bit of water to this area, like that. And let me get my image on my screen first. Okay, come on, image. You got away from me. Okay. All right, so I'm gonna add some water over here. Come over here, like that. And immediately after that, I'm gonna bring in some raw umber with a little bit of undersea green for these distant trees, kind of soft there, like that. Like that. There were some lower bushes in this area too, so I'm gonna leave those alone, like that. There, okay. I'm gonna let that dry. I think I'm gonna wait until the water begins to dissipate a little bit before I add any other color. because I want to add some other color there that will be will look good. Not only look good, but it will be a little bit on the cooler side of the spectrum. Here we are. Get my image on my screen. There we are. So now I'm going to pick up a little bit of cobalt blue and bring a little bit of that cobalt blue. The cobalt blue has a beautiful quality of throwing other colors into a distance. It gives you a very, very nice atmospheric perspective. Like that. A little bit of a detail on the top of the tree line. And I'm going to let that dry. And then while that's drying, I'm going to go ahead and do some of this. This area is almost dry. There were some really nice bushes over here. So I'm going to use some raw sienna again with aureole in yellow. This time I'm going to use some ultramarine blue. And I'm going to come over here and do some of those bushes that I like in this area. Like that. Leave a little bit of areas of white peeping through. Also going to bring some aureole in yellow by itself with a touch of cerulean blue. And there was a little sapling of a tree over here that was really bright, like that, blended into the other one. The sunlight was hitting that tree, and also there was some other bushes over here that were getting plenty of sunlight, so I'm going to do those too. Get all those colors going on here. Leave some white areas also for the sparkle of the sunlight, like that. These are base colors for now. I'm going to darken them later. Okay, now I need there was a darker tree over here, so I'm going to wait for that. But in the meantime, I'm going to work on this area. I'm going to bring this color that I have over here, continue in this area, like that. A little bit more of that raw amber and the ultramarine blue. Bring that color over here like that. I might darken those areas later, but for now I'm going to leave it like that. And at this point, what I'm going to do is start darkening these grassy areas. I'm going to bring a little bit more cerulean blue into that aureole in yellow over here, and darken this area a little bit more. Make it a little cooler green, especially over here. Okay, there. Like I said, I'm going to darken those areas later. So I'm going to leave that alone. I'm going to come over here and do a little bit more of that color here too. There, like that. Okay, now I'm going to mix a little bit of brown matter with cobalt blue. This path, it has some pavers, so because of the shadow areas here, this will have more blue, but in the sunlight areas, it will be more of the brownish tone. So I'm gonna get those colors going over here, kind of light for now. I'm going right to the path. On the path, I'm gonna leave it pretty much white because a lot of sunlight going there. But here on this area, on this lower area, I'm gonna bring a little bit more of the brown matter. Like that. A little bit more of the cobalt blue also. And these areas over here where the sunlight was hitting this path, I'm gonna bring in a very light touch of yellow ochre. There, like this. There, like that. A little bit of that over here, a little bit of this over here. Kind of warm it up a little bit in this order, in those areas. Okay, I'm gonna let that dry. Now, this is almost dry. I'm gonna go back to my round brush. I'm gonna add a little bit of water over here. There's some tall grasses and other bushes in this area. And I'm gonna start darkening some of these areas now. I'm gonna use some more raw sienna with undersea green. Make one little puddle of that, make another puddle of raw sienna and that permanent sap green. There we are. Okay, and on that water, I'm going to bring the raw sienna and the permanent sap green. There's the tops of these bushes are getting quite a bit of sun, but the lower area is not. So for that lower area, I'm going to bring some undersea green with ultramarine blue, quite dark actually, and come over here and do that mass of color that is for these bushes. This is dry, yeah, it's dry. So I'm going to come over here like that and do that those bushes. This is going to be much darker because of the sunlight being on the other side and this area being in the shade. So because of that, I'm also going to pick up a little bit more of the raw sienna, some of the permanent sap green, and quite a bit of ultramarine blue. I'm also going to bring in some sepia, mix there, some more of the green, and this time I'm going to bring in more ultramarine, and I'm going to come over here and do those bushes. You can hardly see them because of you don't see any details here because of the sunlight coming from the opposite side. So, and then I'm gonna come over here and combine those bushes right into the grassy area. Come over here and right into the grassy area, the shadow side of the grassy area. Like that. Leave some areas, the light green where the sunlight is hitting those areas, filtering through the trees over here, but cover the rest with this dark green. I'm also going to add a little bit of raw sienna to this mixture, kind of warm it up. There, like that. There. Just bring it right into those bushes. There, like that. Okay. This is dry, so I'm going to get quite a bit of water in my brush and quite a bit of pigment. And using a round brush, I'm going to start doing some of this foliage. I'm going to use some raw sienna and the sea green and sepia, quite a bit of that mixture. Because these are oak trees and they're kind of these colors. Make them fairly dark. Bring some Payne's gray into that too. And come over here and start doing these trees. Like that. Bring more Payne's gray and sepia with the sea green, making really dark. And what I'm going to do here is get another brush where I can use a different type of technique. I'm going to do this, hold the brush this way and do the foliage like that. Okay, come over here, and this was really dark. I'm using quite a bit of sepia, Payne's gray, and undersea green to get all this very dark foliage against the sunlight that's on the other side. Like that. A little bit more water in my brush. Like that. Come over here, combine those colors, and come down over here like that, because there was branches and things hanging over here like that. Now I'm also going to get more of those colors, and there's hanging foliage hanging over here too, this dark foliage. So I'm going to do this like this. There's no room for the timid here. You have to go very dark for this type of treatment. Like that. It's a really, really nice way to paint foliage, doing almost a dry brush effect like that. I'll darken this area a little bit more, leaving some daylight to show the sky on the other side. Okay, I'm going to let that dry. While that's drying, I'm going to further darken these bushes over here because they're much darker. but I'm leaving that nice warm green on the top. And bring all that really dark, all of this is in a deep shade. I'm going to change brushes and do that very deep shade area over here into this grassy area. There, like that. There. I'm going to let that dry. While that's drying, get my image back in my screen here. While that's drying, I'm gonna do these other trees. I'm gonna pick up some raw sienna mixed with this green that I have in my palette. And come over here and do this tree. Getting some sunlight, so that's why it has kind of warm green. Little details there showing daylight through the foliage there as well. Blend it right into this other area, and I'm gonna bring more of those colors. I'm gonna kind of cool it into this area over here, and to the dark area around this little sapling, and bring a little bit more water in my brush and smooth this out with a different color there. And not doing away with this nice warm green that's over here. There, so there's those two different types of greens for that tree and this other tree. And I'm gonna bring in some raw umber into that mixture, because there's another tree over here has a different type of green, like that. There. And more of that raw umber with a little bit of sepia and ultramarine blue for a different type of green for this other tree here. Again, we're going to do a little bit of the detailing of the perimeter branches. The side of the brush works really well for this. And then come over here like this. There we are. There, like that. Then come over here to this bush, bring some of the permanent sap green. And first I'm going to add some water to this area. There. Then I'm going to bring some of that green, kind of blend it, because it's in the sunlight. But the lower areas are going to be dark, because the lower areas are in the shade. They are not, the sun is not touching them. So while the paper is wet over here, I'm going to let the lower area of this greenery, make it darker. there's a little bit of an incline. There was a ditch on the other side of all these trees and bushes, so that's the reason for that. Also, there's some grasses over here. There's a little bit of that white edge there. I'm going to bring in a little bit of the aureole in yellow to this area, like that. There. Okay. I change brushes to a small other brush. Pick up some aureole in yellow, some raw sienna, and do this bushes on the lower bushes on the other side of this grassy meadow area. There we are. And bring some a little bit of cobalt blue into that. Like that. There. Okay. Right now, I'm gonna increase the value of this area. It needs to be much darker, more sepia, and the sea green, Payne's gray. This area here, and darken those areas. There, like that. There. All right. I also need to darken some areas over here. Well, the paper is still kind of damp here. I'm going to darken some of these areas. Like that. Pick up a little bit more water and kind of blend these areas a little bit like that. There. All kinds of bushes, and get that dark color to get the detail of the grasses in this area. But I'm gonna do that kind of softer. I'm gonna add a little bit of water to this edge and soften that a little bit more. There we are. There, like that. That's the way I want it to do. Also, I'm going to get some water and soften some of these areas too. There, like that. All right. So now I'm going to take my flat brush, make a nice mixture of brown matter and cobalt blue, mostly the cobalt blue. And here we go, this shadow area. Like that. A little bit more of the cobalt blue. And this. shadows coming this way. All this area will be in the shade. Like that. Like that. A little bit more of the cobalt blue in this area. And then I'll take the ultramarine blue with this green that's in my palette, bring some quinacridone gold mixed there. Ultramarine blue and quinacridone gold make a really beautiful green for shadows. Come over here and do this shadow over here. That and come over here. A little bit more of those colors. And come over here and like that. And blend that shadow right into that greenery there. Like that. That's what I was looking for. And bring some of that over here too. Give a little bit of a dark green at the base of those bushes. Not much. Like that, just a touch of that. Give a little bit of texture there. I'm gonna warm up this shadow over here a little bit more with raw sienna, just clean raw sienna, no other color. Bring some of that over here, there, like that. Get some paper towel and do a little bit of remove some of the color like that, not too much. A little bit more of that over here. Get the base of those bushes there like that. There. All right, so now I'm going to change brushes to another flat brush, bring some clean ultramarine blue into this shadow. Cool it down. There, that's the effect that I wanted. There. Okay, let that dry. While that's drying, I'm going to take a small brush, small round brush, and get some of the raw sienna with the green, a little bit of the sepia, and come over here and do these branches and trunk of this tree. Like that. There's another one over here. There's branches for this and the trunk for this little sapling. This is when the painting really comes alive. Like that. There's some other little twigs and branches, more branches coming out of these bushes. Like that. And this tree will have some branches also. Quite a few actually. Like that. Same thing here. I'm going to get another type of brush, pick up some ultramarine blue and sepia mixed with the green, and do this tree over here, a tree trunk. There, like that. Get some more sepia. And there's another one over here. And some of those branches there. There's another one over here. Incline the other way. Another one over here. There's some different ones. Like that. And now I'm going to get my rigger brush and do some more branches. There, like that. This is with straight sepia. More branches here. Like that. This is the fun part when you do this, and this is when everything comes alive when you do this. There, like that. Okay. What I see now is that I need to add a little bit of water here, not much, and create another layer in that area. There, that's good. There, another layer there. Now I'm going to get the stiff bristle brush and remove some of the pigmentation here, soften some of these areas and get some of the sunlight filtering through. in these areas over here, like this. Like that. And blot it out. Same thing over here. A little bit over here. A little bit over here. Some light areas, not much. Just blot them out. Clean the brush really good. And do the same thing over here. Soften these edges. There. And pick up some of the color and make these shafts of light kind of soft. Like that. A little bit of water there. Make them softer. There. Get a different brush. A little bit of water, not much. And come over here and do the same thing. Soften some of these shafts of light. Like that. And do the same thing on the grassy area. Oh, this is too harsh. And soften those edges. There. Pick up a little bit of the color over here too. And like that. Not much. Just soften those edges. It makes a big difference. Like that. Okay. I'm also gonna, with that, this flat brush, the edge of this flat brush, I want to do some tree trunks that are getting a little bit of sunlight. Yeah, like that. Yeah. Just a couple like that. On this side, I'm going to pick up a few highlights for the sunlight filtering through and hitting those trunks. Like that. That's it. And the painting is done. Oh no, it's not done. That's take it back. I'm gonna get some of this brown matte with the ultramarine blue this time. There we are. And do this. This is dry. Yeah. This path has a little bit of an edge. And over here too. Like that. And there's some pavers in the border like that. Just a few indications. And there's some pavers over here too, so I'm gonna just give a faint indication of those pavers, but I'm gonna do the rest kind of warm with a little bit of brown sienna. And that blue. Just a very faint indication of the pavers, not much, that's it. Okay, Now I will remove the tape, bring a dark board so you will see how this looks like. If I can get this tape out of here. I'm going to try this side first. There we go. Bring the dark board. And there it is. I will minimize it. And there it is. That nice walking path early in the morning, showing the sunlight coming from the left-hand side behind these trees, with a few little areas of sunlight filtering from the trees onto the grass, onto the pathway, and the long shadows going that way. Beautiful composition. Concentration of colors, greens, warm greens, cool greens in this area, sunny greens, shadow greens, and kind of faint indication of trees in the distance. Hope you enjoyed this demonstration, this tutorial. And please visit my website at aafinearts.com, where you will see information about my classes and a selection of my paintings and prints. And please send me your comments about this video, or for that matter, any of the other videos in my channel. Until next time.